I want to go to the issue of board culture and board presidential relationships. That's a lot of the report focuses on. Some of the ways that boards get in trouble is through tensions between the president and the board over who's in charge of what, and also dysfunctional board cultures. And there are a lot of recommendations in this report exhorting boards to take responsibility for their own performance and to set and model by their own behavior and practices what they expect of others. You were successful in Tufts in doing a lot of that. Can you share with us how it worked, what you did?
Well, let's start that the single most important decision a board makes is the selection of a president. And Bob, as you pointed out, that involves looking ahead and not where, everybody talked about Wayne Gretzky being the great hockey player, finding a president who's going to skate to where the puck will be, not where the puck is. And that takes a lot of hard work. Implicit in the selection of a president is if you're hiring he or she, you damn well better trust he or she. And the way we try to do it is two ways. An element of transparency is we want the president's problems to be our problems. And secondly are the two rules of frankly, being a good board member. The first rule is you can never forget that it's not your day job. And the second rule is, regardless of the temptation, regardless of your impetus, never forget the first rule. And as a chair, you have to enforce the rules, but if you really want to get down into the football program, go be a football coach. That's not what we're here to do. And I think that, at least in our case, we managed to get 40 people pulling in the same direction. We believe that anybody who's going to join our board, it's got to be their most important not-for-profit activity in terms of time, talent, and resources. If you can't make this statement, you're in the wrong place. I think it's also, when we touch on this, and it's very important, in our case, why is someone joining the board? It isn't just they're a good-looking or better-looking face. We want the view, at least in our institution, that anybody coming on that board's lifting the collective boat. And that means endorsing the mission, pulling in the same direction, checking your ego at the door. I was talking with Jeff Sonnenfeld before. On our board, we had 6 sitting CEOs of Fortune 100 companies. And each to a man and woman, one's the chairman of DuPont, said it was the highest functioning board they sat on, including their own. And in large part because they checked their egos at the door. We dealt with strategic issues. That's a separate subject, we'll leave for others. And it was really fun to watch.
Let me start by talking about when you don't get to select your board members, because that's actually a more complicated predicament. But it's not undoable. And I think part of what is so important about the report is a call to action for, regardless of how someone gets on a board, because often that is out of control, whether it's a locally elected position for community college boards, or whether it's a governor-appointed position at state boards, for example, in Texas, that there is a responsibility for board members that are already sitting on that board to act as the mentor, teacher, and enculturator, I'm sure is not a word, of the next board. And I have never been helped more by sitting board members that help each other learn how to do this work really well. And I think we forget that as a responsibility often. President can do parts of that, a chancellor can do parts of that, but there's no better way to kind of govern each other in that responsibility than to have good board member relationships one with the other. It's a treasure if you have someone like that on your board that can help you guide the path of rightful thinking.
First of all, let me just make a comment on well-functioning boards and relations with university leaders. I think what is absolutely critical, and the report speaks to this, is the relationship between the campus, the CEO, the president or the chancellor, and the chair of the board. That is such a critically important relationship of trust that must exist. I was blessed to have Cliff Kendall as my chair for many of my years as chancellor, and we had that kind of relationship. I think the president and the chancellor have to be totally transparent with the board and give, share the ugly with the beautiful, so that the board is always informed and there is a sense of trust that the leadership of the institution is willing to share all information in a timely manner with the board. I think another thing that is important for the chair and the chancellor, the president to do is to ensure that cliques don't develop on a board. That's something that has to be constantly watched so that every board member feels they have an equal share in the information and the voice.